backs.
Thank you.
Well, it's an embarrassment of riches here tonight in Shanghai. The world champion Zhao Xingtong on one table, the 7 times world champion, the greatest of them all, Ronnie O'Sullivan on the other. Terrific atmosphere, but the hush descends. Barry Hawkins to get us underway. Ronnie O'Sullivan starting his 34th season on the World Snooker Tour. He starts it as world number 5. It's worth saying, and of course this is not a ranking event, but it's worth saying he has got big points coming off his rankings during the season, so that'll be something to follow as we make our way over the next few months. But let's first things first, see how he does in this match. Delighted to be joined by the first ever winner of the Shanghai Masters, Dominic Dale. And well, you've come in a very interesting session, Dominic.
Yes, hello everybody. Yes, I really have. I mean, what a match that we have here. Barry Hawkins and Ronnie O'Sullivan. I think Ronnie really does love playing in China, but of course he had a lot of problems last season. Broke his cue after losing to Robert Milkins in the Championship League. Withdrew from 8 events if you count that tournament. And well, it's a new season. Let's see what it holds for Ronnie O'Sullivan. I'm expecting better things this season from him.
Yeah, I mean, he came back at the Crucible, but it's such a goldfish bowl. He still, despite not being at his brilliant best, got to the semis, but he's had 3 months to recharge his batteries, no doubt, do some work with the new cue and just get ready for the season ahead. Well, a couple of friendly kisses for Barry Hawkins there. Of course, what he did also do in the summer is he got married to his longtime partner. So congratulations to them. They did play here in the final in 2018, and it was a close run thing. O'Sullivan, he was 6-4 down at half time. He won 11-9.
Excellent safety from Ronnie there. He's blocked off the left-hand side of the table because of the green and the pink, so Barry needs to be a little more careful here. This is probably not the beginning of a frame that either of these players really wanted to see, with the black and the pink a little awkwardly positioned. So Ronnie trying to bring the pink into play, which he's managed to do. Chance of a long straightish red into this right-hand corner for Ronnie. The black is probably available into the left corner, but the problem is if he pots it, it may be immediately tied up. That's why Ronnie decided to go for one of the bulk colours. Cued that very, very nicely. And if you're Barry Hawkins, you'll take note of that. He only missed the first attempt at a pot by the merest fraction, so he seems to be cueing well.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 1.
Well, a surprising miss. It's already just gone a bit awkward, this table. The big colours not in great spots.
1.
So Barry Hawkins has decided to play for the black. It's a tight thing as to whether it will respot. That's okay, it's certainly on a red to the right corner, but let's just see if this black respots. I think it will.
Eight.
At least he's got the pink to play with, or he will have soon. I'm sure he'll bring that into play.
9.
That UK Championship match he won last November, he was 4-2 down. But O'Sullivan only scored actually 12 more points in the match. Hawkins made breaks of 73, 75, 88 and 60. So really did play well to not only win, but win with a lot of big breaks. But this has gone wrong.
12.
Well, surely there isn't a gap through those two reds, is there? It looks as though there is from that angle.
Well, that would be incredible. Nothing that Ronnie O'Sullivan hasn't seen before, I'm sure, but what a bit of fortune this is for the Hawk.
13.
Yeah, as I say, made his 500th century, actually first frame against Wu Yizu, and it was typical Barry Hawkins. He was asked about it and he said, well, I haven't made as many as some players. Well, that might be true, but he's made a lot more than most. It's only 18 players made 500. But he's never been one to sort of big himself up. Just
60.
lets his snooker do the talking. That
was a beautifully judged cannon by Barry Hawkins. This is going to have to be quite a workmanlike break to have to make, because black is completely tied up for now. The pink, once it's respotted, will be again just a little tied up. Played very, very well in his first match, beating Wu Yizu by 6 frames to 4. Made a lot of big breaks, including that century in the first frame that Dave's just alluded to. Now he's played a very clever shot there, because in potting this red he can just play a delicate cannon into the 2 reds to the right of it to hold for the pink to the left centre, and that's played beautifully as well. And all of a sudden now this break is becoming a lot easier to make.
I mean, he can look at things different ways, but it might actually help him, the fact that Xingtong's on the other table. There's, you know, very often when you play O'Sullivan, the whole of the sort of arena seems to be watching, but it's not the case in this session. There's just as much interest, maybe even more, on the other table in this arena.
31.
Looking to punish here, looking to show O'Sullivan that he's really up for the fight. O'Sullivan missed that yellow after the initial red.
That red that's closest to the pink will pot into the right corner. That will help. And it clearly does, and that will all of a sudden bring the pink right out into the open. It then becomes available into the left corner. Problem is, of course, Barry's doing all this hard work for O'Sullivan if he were to make a mistake, so he needs to keep his focus.
34. Four.
has an angle here, Barry, to pot the pink and run into the reds and the black to try and knock something on. He may be able to run through into the red next to the black to leave himself on the one that's closest to this corner. No, there's obviously something else that will just pass. Ronnie looking on, wondering if he'll get back to the table in this first frame.
4-7. $48.
So just this red to the right centre, followed by the pink, and Ronnie O'Sullivan would require a snooker.
$55.
This has been classic Barry Hawkins, really. He's gone about this very, very efficiently, nicely focused, never really been in trouble. I think the significance is it's frame one. You're never quite sure, particularly on a big night like this, about the nerves and how players are going to be feeling, but from this visit it seems he's feeling pretty good. Not sure he's on this next red or not, but O'Sullivan needs a snooker.
Barry Hawkins, 61.
Jiazing Tong's made a 68 break to win the first frame against Chris Wakelin. O'Sullivan, of course, needs a snooker. Hawkins has put him in one.
Ronnie may have been unlucky there. The two reds just above the black may be set for this left corner as a plant. Well, Ronnie's played a few shots coming around the angles using a lot of side spin on the ball, and when you're playing with a fairly new cue, that's the sort of shot that can often derail you, so those are good signs from Ronnie's point of view.
Go through to the last 8. Williams to get us underway. That's a warm welcome.
Just to show you the other table, as I say, frame one has been won by Jiazing Tong. He made a 68 break, so good start for him. Of course, they did play in the quarterfinals, these two. Sullivan doesn't want that red in. That doesn't help him really. Yeah, they played in the quarters. It was 13-5 to Xingtong. And, well, Hawkins will be in a snooker, but of course he's taken 8 points off the table here by this red going in.
Check. Touching ball.
So 59, the difference
Bravo.
with 51 on. Yeah, Wakelin said that he felt, you know, that maybe Xingtong's worst performance, but he himself had nothing kind of left to give. Felt drained, and he's been working on his fitness in the summer to try and sort of remedy that.
From conceded, Barry Hawkins.
Well,
Great.
O'Sullivan has seen enough. So Barry Hawkins, it was a very good break, wasn't it? 61 after O'Sullivan missed that initial yellow after potting the red. And Barry Hawkins claims first blood here this evening in this big session of snooker in Shanghai. So Ronnie O'Sullivan missed a yellow, and when he came back to the table he needed snookers. Barry Hawkins 1-0 up, best of 11. The winner plays Kyron Wilson, and that'll be the night session tomorrow. Quarterfinals will play tomorrow. In the morning we've got Judd Trump and Mark Selby to look forward to from 7 o'clock UK time, and Zhao Guodong and Ali Carter. Ding will play the winner of Zhao Xingtong and Chris Wakelin, and Wilson, as I say, the winner of this one. Do you have any memories, Dominic, of that 2007 victory?
I do, Dave. But with advancing years, they're fading fast, these memories. But one thing I did remember, actually, ahead of playing Ryan Day in the final, we practiced together just a day or two before flying out to Shanghai. And I remember being 6-3 down in practice to Ryan and winning that session 9-8. And of course, I was 6-2 down to him in the final. And it may well have been on his mind because I managed to win all 7 frames of the evening session. I just remember what a wonderful place it was to play. I always wanted to go to Shanghai as a child. So to win a tournament there, bearing in mind I've only won 2 ranking events, is something very special for me.
Yeah, and the tournament has grown and grown. I mean, obviously it's not a ranking event now, but it's become established as a very prestigious event on the tour. 210,000 to the winner. And, of course, 24 players, but all the top 16 seeds made it through from that last 24 round to this last 16. Ali Carter, of course, invited in because Mark Allen withdrew, and Ali is in the quarterfinals.
Useful kiss there from cue ball to brown. If you can put that cue ball somewhere towards the green pocket, you will cause more problems for your opponent. And somewhere near the yellow pocket, that's for sure. So Barry has to be a little careful here now.
I just want to update you on the other match. Zhao Xingtong with a chance here. It's early on, but a chance to lead 2-0. Wakelin just made an error to give him the opening. 68 the break from Xingtong in the opening frame. Remember that continues on our streaming platforms.
So nearly in behind the brown. It was an excellent attempt, but it's a lovely target. Yellow, green and brown. Not too difficult to get in behind. Both of these players possess a very fine tactical game, and that's the problem sometimes when you play a lot of safety like this at the beginning of a frame. It's easy for the big value colours to get tied up. But Barry, if he's very careful here, can attempt this pot to the right corner. There is a gap for the cue ball. It had to be accurately struck, and he was just a little too far away from the pot to find that gap.
I was listening to Stephen Hendry on the World Snooker Tour podcast last week, and he was saying he still expects O'Sullivan to be a heavy scorer in the balls, close in. He doesn't think there's a problem. He was questioning maybe his long game isn't quite what it was, and therefore, in terms of getting in, sometimes having to rely on mistakes. Now, there's been a mistake here from Hawkins, so let's see if that theory pays off. Because he is 50 in December. But you don't think of Ronnie O'Sullivan as a veteran, even though, as I say, this is his 34th season as a professional.
$14.
I wonder if Ronnie expected that black to be respotted, or whether it had to go on the pink spot. It won't make much of a difference. Pink is still easily available. Black, though, is probably tied up. Just the wrong side of the blue, so he's going to have to rethink his plan here. Personally speaking, if he can play the pink, it would be far more advantageous, I feel. Needs his cue ball to slow down. Is he on this red?
Try. $21.
Was a semi-finalist here last year. Judd Trump beat him pretty heavily, 10-3. Prior to that, he'd won the title on 5 occasions.
27.
And was also runner-up to Ricky Walden one year. In fact, he'd won the China Open in Shanghai before that. So he's actually won 6 titles in this city. In fact, he started last season pretty well. He got to the semis in Xi'an, he got to the quarters in Riyadh, but then things tailed off, and of course, breaking the queue in January curtailed the season until the Crucible.
Striking the ball very well, Ronnie O'Sullivan, and you can always tell when he feels good about his game. When he plays
35.
with a quicker tempo as he's doing here.
$41. 42.
I wonder if the red 2 up from the black is possible into this left corner. Well, it would appear to be. Now, if Ronnie plays a very, very delicate cannon here, he can just free up that black a little bit.
$49.
Well, probably didn't matter because I think the red next to the black is possible anyway.
$55. $56.
So Sullivan made just one error in the first frame, missed a yellow. Hawkins made what was effectively a frame-winning break. In this frame, Hawkins played that shot to nothing, didn't he? Caught the red on the way back with the cue ball. And this has been the response from O'Sullivan. Hawkins needs a snooker.
70. $71.
And that red going in surely means it's going to be O'Sullivan's frame. So this has been a good break, not as straightforward as it could have been. But he's, like so often before, just worked out the puzzle really quickly. He's worked it out before a lot of people would even sort of see what the puzzle was. That's Ronnie O'Sullivan for you.
$86. $87. $94.
Just caught it a little too thin, but it was a pretty spellbinding break nonetheless, wasn't it? 94. So Ronnie O'Sullivan, first real chance he got in that frame. He won the frame, and we're level here at 1 each. Quarterfinals played all day. Tomorrow the semi-finals are best of 19 affairs, so they're played over Friday and Saturday. The final best of 21 on Sunday, first to 11 to be champion. Because Hawkins, as that cue ball comes in behind the green. Hawkins has played quite a lot of snooker already this season. Wuhan Open he's qualified for. He played Championship League, although he didn't win his group. And of course he played Wu Yize on Monday here. And that white just running on makes such a difference.
Foul.
Missed just the line there, Ronnie O'Sullivan. He was trying to leave the cue ball in the back of the pack of reds, but he's probably left Barry in the worst possible position from Ronnie O'Sullivan's point of view, that is, because he can pot this red and try to cannon the red away from the black and be on the black. But for that to happen straight on this red would have been slightly better from Barry's point of view. Let's just see what happens here. This one shot could be very important.
What?
Yeah, and just as, you know, Sullivan in the first frame saw how good Hawkins is feeling, the opposite was true in the last. I mean, I think Barry Hawkins will have prepared himself for Ronnie O'Sullivan being at his best, but you're never quite sure. What we've seen in this tournament is, even if you play really well, it's no guarantee. I thought Zhang Anda, not just the maximum, I thought he was really impressive yesterday. And he was a bit unlucky in the decider. He went in off and Ding made a good break off the back of it, and that was that. And that, at this level, can happen. That can be the difference between winning and losing.
9.
Both of these players look to be doing very, very well at the beginning of this match. Barry would probably like to be just a little closer to this red. I don't expect him to miss the pot, but when you're further away, sometimes
14.
getting perfect position can be a problem, but he's managed it okay there. Personally speaking, I think I'll be happy playing for the red nearest this left corner next. To try and leave Langer on the black, just to go into that little shelf of reds above the black. They should open well, and he ought to be on a red as well, because I think they'll spread well. He did look at playing for the red near the corner, but he's decided in the end to leave himself as straight as he could on this red. I just wonder if he's straight enough on it, though, to run through for the black or hole for the pink.
Barry Hawkins, 19.
Interestingly there, Barry played the double to play for the black into the left corner, and the fact that that black is only an inch off the top cushion suggests to me that both players think that these pockets are playing fairly generously. Pretty good safety from Ronnie there. Barry will need to be careful because of that red that's close to bulk. You're always in the back of your mind when you play a safety shot, so you may decide to play a safety from that red that's closest to the blue.
Oh, fantastic. Meanwhile, just to show you table one, Chris Wakeling with a good chance to pull a frame back here, 58 to the good against Zhao Tong, so just looking to complete the job there and get on the scoreboard.
Oh, what a great red that was from Barry. But again, you know, he played for that black along the top cushion. There are many tournaments where a player would probably be less inclined to want to risk a pot like that. If he's on this red below the pink, he'll be very pleased. And this is a really good chance for Barry now in frame 3 to hit back. At 94, I think it was, from O'Sullivan in the previous frame. Both of these matches are motoring along very nicely here. Still has 3 loose reds to play for, and I think he'd probably like to remove those reds and build up a substantial lead before risking a cannon into that little group of 6 reds below the pink.
Sister.
Hawkins lost in the first round of this event, the previous round last year, to Zhou Long. Then he dropped out the top 16, didn't he? But he got to the UK Championship final and the German Masters final, so starts this season number 9. So that red just succumbs.
23.
Yeah, those 2 finals were very close as we see this pot again. Lost 10-8 to Trump in York and 10-9 to Karen Wilson in Berlin.
Just didn't quite get as much backspin on the cue ball as he wanted there, Barry. He wanted to be as straight as possible on this red, but he may still be able to hold for the pink. Well, he couldn't, so he's screwed on and off the cushion for the black, and he couldn't have played that any better. Getting close to the winning line in his 3rd frame already now. But this is the key shot coming up.
37. The
black to lead by 68 with 75 on, so 1 more red required. This red along the cushion.
45. 46.
Well, he struck that really true. There was no sort of wriggling in there. He struck it well. So the black for the extra 7 points, and it's surely 2-1 to Hawkins. Now this is impressive stuff from Barry Hawkins. You've got to try and stand up to, you know, the real big hitters. He did that in York, as I say, 18-3 on the head-to-head to that man. You think he's almost a certainty, but it was the fact that Hawkins won the last meeting and won it impressively, playing really well at the UK Championship. That must be in his mind and something to hold on to.
$61. 62.
Top spinner right hand side on the cue ball to speed
69.
it up off the 2 cushions. Both these players playing pretty quickly at or near their normal average shot time.
77. $78.
Well, of course, the frame well and truly won. If he's going to make a
84.
century, though, needs to deal with this rather awkward last red. Not to be, but 84 is a winning break from Barry Hawkins, who's been impressive so far. O'Sullivan dominated the second frame. Hawkins, though, back in front at 2-1, with one more frame to come before the mid-session interval.
Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
84 the break from Barry Hawkins in frame 3 to lead Ronnie O'Sullivan 2-1, last 16 of the Shanghai Snooker Masters. Second event of the season. Stephen Maguire won the Championship League. And it's a big month, isn't it? Because Saudi Arabia Masters coming up in Jeddah next week. End of next week it starts, which carries a £500,000 first prize, same as the World Championship. Then at the end of August, the Wuhan Open. You can watch both events live on TNT Sports.
Good shot choice there from Ronnie. Normally he'd like to play a safety shot from the right hand side of the pack of reds, but with that red on the cushion near the right centre, that could be a big problem for Barry, so he's having to play an entirely different shot. No, he is going to risk it. Had to play it a little thicker to avoid that red, and you can see what's happened. A red has found its way near this right corner, so that's a mistake. And of course, in playing that shot, he's opened other reds into play. So one good pot and position here from Ronnie, and he could be right in. Those long screw back shots are much more difficult here in Shanghai because of the humidity factor. In other events, you could have screwed back to bolt fairly easily with Ronnie's cue action, but that's about as good as he could have done, I think.
Six.
You can pot the red just below the pink here, but he'll need to judge the cannon from the two reds to the left of it.
Seven. $13.
Ronnie could play for the black now, into the opposite corner.
14.
Now, can he pot the black and just screw into the reds next to it, just to free up the black spot a little bit? Judged it nicely, and all of a sudden, in just 2 or 3 shots, Ronnie O'Sullivan has given himself
21.
every opportunity now to level this match up at the mid-session interval.
22.
Yeah, this is an example really of what we were saying earlier. He just sees the whole picture immediately, doesn't he? He knows exactly what needs to be done to give himself the best chance of killing the frame off in one visit. And of course, a lot of O'Sullivan fans delighted to see him back, but it's always good to see him really keyed in like this. You know, it's a big tournament. It's one he's had a lot of success in. Competed really well. Okay, Hawkins is playing good also. But in many ways, that's kind of the challenge, isn't it? It's then to up your own game and meet the challenge of your opponent. It's been a tournament where the standard's been so high. I'm sure he's been watching the other matches and is aware of how well everyone's playing. The conditions are favourable for scoring. But there's never been a better scorer in the game. 1,289 centuries confirms that. And I've got some bad news for you, Dominic, because now, of course, there's been a slight change in the rules. He's eligible to play in the seniors now, which I know you're in. So it could be you've got to handle the likes of Ronnie and Mark Williams, John Higgins, as well as all the other players.
38.
I'm just hoping they don't want to play in the seniors events. Hopefully, from their point of view, there are enough professional events to play in without having to worry about the seniors. But yeah, I think I'd retire altogether if they were playing in those events. Matthew Stevens will be playing in an event over the Christmas period. One of the seniors invitationals. That'd be nice to see.
Yeah, and they are seniors. I mean, as I say, he's 50 in December, but still really bearing out what Stephen Hendry was saying in the balls. You still do fancy him to score.
46. $51.
I think that's called a reverse replay.
52.
Oh, this has been a very high standard of break building from both players. I think if either player would have been told they'd perform the way they have, they'd be surprised to be 2 at the interval. And the referee's just going to check the availability here of the pink spot. Players are very, very good at knowing whether a spot's available, and I bet Ronnie knew that pink would spot, even though there's probably barely a millimetre in it, because he's played for the red nets of the pink.
59.
Well, we've barely been going an hour. It's been good stuff from both players. And O'Sullivan a couple of balls here from levelling up at 2 each to go to the interval.
65. 66.
So much expectation on him to perform, of course,
73.
which you can't always do, but he's not just turning up for the hell of it. He'll have been putting work in. He'll be wanting to mix it with, I guess, the latest rival to come along. He's had so many over the decades. Xiao Tong now, world champion.
$79.
But when it comes to aura, there's only one number one, isn't there? The man at the table.
80. $86. 87.
Ronnie thought he could get enough backspin on the cue ball there to cannon the pink and be on the red nets of it, but wasn't quite to beat. Oh, what a great effort.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 94, in frame.
It's a second 94 from Ronnie O'Sullivan, once again answering the call after Barry Hawkins went a frame in front. It's been a very high standard, and they're all square at the interval. 2-2. And set up perfectly on both tables. In a few minutes' time, Zhao Xingtong and Chris Wakelin resuming 2-2. And here, Ronnie O'Sullivan and Barry Hawkins also 2-2. And it's been good, clean stuff so far. Breaks in every frame. Hawkins 61 and 84. He's twice been in front. And Ronnie O'Sullivan actually could have had 2 centuries. He missed actually a red into the same pocket, the yellow pocket. Neither easy. Both on 94. But plenty, I think, for O'Sullivan fans to be cheerful about. Equally, if you're supporting Barry Hawkins, he's got every chance as well.
Foul.
Now, where's this red going?
Red Hawkins to 4.
Not good for O'Sullivan.
Yes, on another day, that red doesn't go into bulk and everything's left moderately safe, but certainly not on this occasion. But it's never easy coming straight back after the interval and playing the way you did beforehand. Got to re-establish that focus, that concentration. It's almost like you're beginning the match all over again.
Three. Four.
Well, it's always a good idea, if you're going to go into the pack of reds, to do so when there's a red near a corner pocket somewhere, because you're almost guaranteed to be on that as a fail-safe. So Barry could consider leaving that red that's closest to this left corner, so that he can go into the pack of reds, knowing that he's guaranteed to be on that red. But this is the great thing, not just with snooker, with all sports. Everybody sees their respective sports in a different way. Well, he did exactly what I said, and he and I have both proved completely wrong, because he's not on anything, I don't think. Nothing at all. Incredible.
It's one of those, isn't it? It's the right shot if you're trying to win the frame in one visit, get everything into play. But it's also kind of the only way it could have gone wrong, playing that. But he would have had to have gone into them at some point. He saw the chance, was unfortunate, I guess, not to land on one.
Well, now, of course, with that red so close to the left-hand corner pocket, Barry's going to have to be rather careful here if he plays a safety shot into bulk, that he hides that red and doesn't leave it on for Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Barry Hawkins, 17.
Well, there are 2 possible reds, and I think Ronnie will take one of them on.
Well, Hawkins will be concerned because, of course, in the previous visit he opened these reds up, and O'Sullivan looking to profit now.
Do you know, that was a beautifully controlled positional shot. It's what's called a soft screw or a soft stun. Ronnie played the red with a certain amount of pace, and just allowed the cue ball to run through a little bit, but not too much, so that he was on the black. And of course, a few shots ago, Barry Hawkins went into the reds and he split them far and wide, so danger here for Barry Hawkins, who, it has to be said, didn't play the best safety shot.
60. 70.
I mentioned right at the start of the match, in terms of world rankings, and this is not a ranking event, but Sullivan has got some big points coming off the UK Championship that he won 2 years ago, the World Grand Prix. And on the provisional Crucible seedings as it stands now, he's actually 17th. Now, of course, that's not factoring in any points that will be going on. But it just sort of puts him on notice that in the ranking tournaments, he's going to have to go deep in something to avoid having to turn up for qualifying the World Championship.
32. 33.
We don't know exactly what schedule he'll play. He might not know himself. You know, I think he's got an instinctive character, and he'll maybe decide nearer the time. But he was always going to come here because this is a part of the world, a city where he's played some sublime snooker down the years.
69. 46.
He's played a couple of positional shots in this break where it was so important to land straightish on the red to the corner pocket, and he managed it so that position to the black was a certainty. Just left himself a little bit to do here, though, with this red to the left centre from a positional point of view.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 54.
Surprising miss all the same. He missed that yellow, didn't he, in frame one, and really been nothing else easy missed until that, or for him, easy. So not over by a long way, this frame.
It was a very good cue ball from Barry with his previous safety, but he still left Ronnie a chance to pot a red. Well, who's going to win this tactical exchange? Very, very important one.
He was at the table very quickly there, wasn't he, Sullivan, wanting to see what sort of shot he had. Yeah, I mean, all the frames so far have been one-sided, but this could yet be a close one.
Nicely played from Barry Hawkins. Ronnie will be careful here not to leave a cuttable red to this left corner, so he's had to play into that red on the thick side.
Yeah, because green over pocket makes the shot to nothing, a shot to something. Meantime, just to show you, Zhao Xingtong, Chris Wakelin are resuming 2-2. It was 2-0 to Zhao Xingtong. Wakelin dug in well. We saw him pop that excellent last red to effectively win the fourth frame. And of course, that's live on our streaming platforms. Now, O'Sullivan did leave a chance at a red, and Hawkins has knocked it in. So let's see if he can claw back the deficit in this frame.
Oh, this is a superb positional shot from Barry Hawkins. Having to queue over the yellow is very unfortunate. He had such a difficult positional shot to play, and I think all in all he'd be pleased with that result. Barry would love to be able to play for the red to the left of the pink in such a way as to play for the black into the same pocket, to leave himself high on it, just to bring those two reds into play. Oh, just carrying a little bit too much pace, so he can still play for the black, but he may have to come off the side cushion and back across. Failing that, he'll have to play for the pink to try and develop those two awkward reds, and Ronnie O'Sullivan knows that that will be the key shot.
Eight.
Blue's perfectly okay, just needs to miss the pink and play a delicate cannon into the two reds, because they will spring apart very well.
Caught the black.
13.
So 20 points in the frame.
Barry Hawkins, 13.
His eyes there entirely on that cue ball, which has run towards the ball cushion.
What a safety that Ronnie O'Sullivan has played there. Can Barry see anything of the left-hand red of the two? Even if he can. And I still can't work out whether he can actually see anything here, but if he does play a safety shot off the left-hand red of those two, he's got to be so careful not to push the other red towards the corner. Can he come off the cushion first?
Foul. And a miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4. Sorry,
Well.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 5.
Maybe having another go.
6, sorry.
Well, we get the foul. I mean, it is 6, but it started at 4. It went up to 5. It won't go any higher than 6, though. We caught the pink. Referee having to, of course, replace the balls here. Important the cue ball's back in the right spot, isn't it? Because, as you say, it didn't seem he could see hardly anything of the red.
The great thing is, though, Barry is one of the most sporting of players that you'll ever come across, so he wouldn't play the shot unless he felt they were in identically the same positions
So just looking to nestle to them this time. Has he got there?
Foul.
He has not.
Yes. Ronnie O'Sullivan 4.
Well, this is one of those escapes where the line of the escape isn't quite as important as the pace is. It doesn't matter how you contact the reds. If the pace is correct, you'll be fine.
Well, it's certainly harder.
Barry needs to be so careful here because Ronnie just needs one red and a high value colour and he'll be safe. Oh, he's left the red on, and if Ronnie can knock it in, position to pink or black is a certainty.
Yeah, I mean, that was essentially, as you say, frame ball, but he didn't get too close to it. Now then, Barry Hawkins, I'm sure, is as surprised as anyone.
Can't believe that Barry's looking at the red along the top cushion. Surely the red to the left centre is the ball. Maybe it's thinner than it may appear, and he's having to play this red. This is tough.
One.
But now the clearance is on, and this would be a great steal. It feels like O'Sullivan has made the running in this frame. He won the safety battle, didn't he, to earn the chance? Just missed the red.
Eight. Nine.
Well, this potential winning clearance does look straightforward, but there are a couple of stumbling blocks potentially. Brown to blue and blue to pink, because the brown is off its spot, the pink is several inches above its spot. So if you weren't to get nicely on the blue, position to the pink could be slightly awkward.
Nineteen. Three.
Oh, that is a slight mistake, but, well, he can leave a pink that he probably shouldn't miss.
28.
Pink and black to steal the frame. Could have been closer, of course, to the pink had it been right side of the blue. But in it goes.
34.
O'Sullivan did have the chance at the penultimate red. He would have been on the black, frame would have been over. Barry Hawkins has very coolly made the clearance. All the other frames have been one-sided. That one feels more significant the way he won it. And for the third time to date, he's in front at 3-2. He leads 3-2. It's the third time he's been ahead by a single frame. Playing for a place in the quarterfinals of the Shanghai Masters. Karen Wilson, 10 years on from winning this as a ranking event, he's waiting in the next round.
I think Barry will have to attempt this long straightish red, because to play a safety shot off the pack he'd have to avoid that red that's near the right side cushion. That could be a bit of a problem. Interesting to see at the beginning of this frame from the break-off shot the black isn't tied up. I think I beg your pardon, Barry needs to take this red on. He's cueing well enough to knock this in. Would you believe it?
Ronnie O'Sullivan 4.
Similar fate has befallen Barry Hawkins as befell Ronnie O'Sullivan in the previous frame, but I'm not sure the red that's gone into bulk this time is an easy pot. Ronnie placing the cue ball as far up in the D as he dare, but nevertheless this red is still missable.
What? Five. Six.
Not quite as straight on the black as he intended to be, so needs to judge a very delicate cannon now. Didn't fancy it, so used the red near the black to go into the pack. Oh, it's worked out very, very nicely. Look at the way he used that red next to the black to deflect the cue ball into them and judged it beautifully. A lot of players wouldn't have played that.
$14. $21. $22. $29.
They didn't look a good pack of reds to go into from the black, it has to be said, and I'm sure Ronnie knew that. Still cut this red into the centre pocket, but it's very tricky.
Yeah, and he's annoyed. He didn't get too close to that, really. You see where that red caught the cushion, didn't really threaten the pocket.
Touching ball.
Well, touching ball means that getting the cue ball tight against this top cushion shouldn't be difficult now. Ronnie may have a bit of a problem when he comes back to the table. That could have been played a little better from Barry. Expected the cue ball just to skid a little more off a side cushion than it did, so Ronnie can play a similar shot here. The red's in bulk, of course. He can't play a safety up there, so it's a very different type of frame, this, to the ones that we've seen. Ronnie spotted a potential for a 3-ball plant here. What's he looking at? Oh, that was fantastically controlled by Ronnie O'Sullivan. Just look at where that cue ball is, directly behind the black. Just the merest fraction off this top cushion. Now, what can Barry Hawkins do with this? You've always got to worry that this red that he's playing doesn't cannon something near a pocket. It can easily happen.
It's going to be mighty thin, this red, with everything on, you suspect, if you weren't to pot it.
Well, if he has to play just the slightest swerve round the black, there's a chance he could go in off into the yellow pocket. If he can see it directly, maybe the in-off won't be on. Oh, that's the biggest disaster of all disasters. Well, that must cost him the frame now, surely.
One.
It's a terrific match, isn't it? We've had some big breaks, a lot of drama as well since the interval.
7. 8. $14. 15.
First tournament he won in Shanghai was back in 1999, the old China Open,
22.
which was initially played in this city before moving to Beijing.
Three.
.63 the lead with this black, so a couple more reds, you feel.
Set. $31.
Where is it maybe a disadvantage is that
63.
so often with Ronnie O'Sullivan, people sort of mark the performance more even than the result. When a lot of players win not at their best, it's sort of seen as a virtue almost. But you know, he got to the World Championship semi-finals, and people were very quick to say he hadn't played his best snooker. But in a way, that said a lot about him. Just his attitude and his ability to win without all the sort of flamboyant stuff. Maybe deserves more credit for that. Missed a couple today, including in this frame, but Barry Hawkins just caught that red near the pocket, far too thin to hand what looked like a golden chance, and O'Sullivan has duly done enough.
$44.
Zhao Tong is 4-2 up now on Chris Wakelin, so he has made a bit of a move. Breaks of 103 and 65 since the interval. This match, though, is level again for the third time. O'Sullivan has come back from a frame behind. 3-3, still a possible 5 frames to play.
Right.
3-3 between Ronnie O'Sullivan and the man breaking off here, Barry Hawkins, in the last 16 of the Shanghai Masters. They played in the final in 2018. That was a tight affair as well. O'Sullivan won 11-9. It's 4-2 to Zhao Tong against Chris Wakelin on table 1.
Well, this must be at least 3 times in a row that we've seen a similar red left from the break-off shot, but of course you can't pop that in hole for the black. So Ronnie playing the old 2-cushion glancing escape. A little bit thick, and he has left a red on into the centre pocket. This red will cut in. Problem is, no certainty of position from it.
What?
Well, what do you do here? He's snookered on all 6 colours. If he tries to roll up to the yellow and doesn't play it well, there will be potable reds on for Ronnie O'Sullivan. Does he have to take the risk here and try and roll up tight in behind the yellow? He's looking at going in behind the green, because he's trying to find a way here of not leaving that red on that's nearest this left corner.
Yellow ball.
He's going to put all his eggs in one basket here. He's going to try and roll it behind the yellow, not behind the green as those lines would suggest.
Played it very well. It's happened again. Snooker and everything again.
Yeah, he was dead straight as you saw on that red. He was trying to use the pocket to screw back and just deflect off another red. Caught too much of it. Yes, Dave says.
Green ball.
Snooker on all colours again. This time he is playing the green.
Foul and miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan 4.
Well, there may be a possible red on into this right corner here, and Ronnie can take the cue ball around the back of the red near the black spot. But he's got to watch that red that's to the left of the pink. Oh, what a pot. And he avoided that red.
One.
And if that cue ball keeps running, well, the brown will be on into the centre pocket, but can he get onto a red from it?
Five.
Oh, this is not an easy red. There's definite pressure on this.
Six. Twelve. Thirteen.
This is certainly a useful red to remove, because should the black be respotted, it will then be available into that
19.
left corner. You always know, though, that when Ronnie O'Sullivan is making a break, that the shot that he's choosing, from a potable point of view and a positional point of view, you know they're going to be the right shots to play. There's no better break builder in the sport.
Yeah, and that's been the case, hasn't it, for decades? I mean, you know, the longevity is the thing, isn't it? As well as all the
25.
achievements, which speak for themselves. The fact that he won the UK Championship at 17, and then again 30 years later.
26.
It feels like we've been sort of asking how much longer can he continue at the top level for about 15 years, and maybe for another 15 years we will. I actually asked him last year about his eyesight, because of course that's something that has affected players. Mark Williams has spoken about it, and Ronnie said he felt it was okay. He didn't really have any big issues.
33. Each. 39.
Must be tempting to play a cannon into the three reds and the black. But with the lead that he has, well, let's just say he doesn't need to pot too many balls to take a 4-3 lead again.
Four. 45. $51. 52.
Well, this has been a magnificent break, actually. And there's pink all ready to get to the snooker's required stage. So for the first time in the match, Ronnie O'Sullivan's going to be in front. This is what he did a couple of years ago in this tournament. he was playing at a good level in
59.
matches, and then all of a sudden would just up the level. Remember, he beat John Higgins. He was behind against Higgins 5-2 and just started producing centuries. And of course went on to win the title.
65.
Did that as well at the end of that UK final I mentioned with Ding. Just pulled away.
66.
Some magical stuff at the end. Did it at the Masters final against Ali Carter as well in the last session. As long as that's in there, Ronnie O'Sullivan is still going to be winning tournaments, for sure.
72. 73.
So just fallen short. A couple of century attempts, made 294 breaks earlier on in frames 2 and 4. Is this going to be the first Ronnie O'Sullivan century of the campaign?
79. Head.
Ooh, maybe not now. Needs a good yellow.
85.
No problem.
87. $90.
Well, he needs it even better brown. Not to be, but it's his third break of 90 or more, and significantly it puts Ronnie O'Sullivan in front in the match for the first time. 4-3. Is he making his move? So the break ended at 90. Ronnie O'Sullivan 4-3 up here in Shanghai tonight. Looking to set up a quarter-final meeting with Karen Wilson. (5-2) to Zhao Tong against Chris Wakelin on the other table. The winner there plays Ding Junhui tomorrow evening.
I think that's the best break-off shot that we've seen, unless a player has decided to try and get the cue ball behind the green. We've seen that a couple of times.
Touching ball.
Very risky playing off that middle red. Just seemed to see the shot and get down and play it, and in all honesty he may have got away with this. Barry considering what may look a makeable plant, but again very risky to take this on.
Well, at least the cue ball will be past the baulk line. It could have been right in amongst them.
Looks very potable, this red, and to be honest, I'd be a little surprised if Ronnie missed it, but there's a lot of pressure on this because of the position of the reds. It could be a frame winner if he can knock this in and get onto the black. He's potted it, but didn't play it the way I thought he would. This black is a little missable.
Just a little bit of movement, I think, so just taking a moment before playing this black. I think the atmosphere's been terrific, and you know, it's enthusiastic without being overly rowdy. Of course, we know the reasons we couldn't come to China for a few years during the pandemic, but when we came back a couple of years ago, I think the fact that we've been unable to come here made the crowds even more enthusiastic, if anything. And now they have a world champion to support, Jiang Tong 5-2 up, so looking good to set up that big match with Ding tomorrow night. Yeah, in fact, we can just show you table one, just to show you what's happening there. Where Jiang Tong, well, he's got a chance here to get it won, trailing in the frame, but look at the reds. Look at the reds here. So, every chance to put himself into the quarterfinals. He's not only a new star, he's an exciting one, isn't he? He plays such an eye-catching game.
24.
And it could well be a meeting with Ding tomorrow.
25.
Meanwhile, just signs here that O'Sullivan is now making his move in this match. I'm going to put you right on the spot here, Dominic. I want a yes or no answer. Will Ronnie O'Sullivan win an 8th world title?
33.
No.
Okay.
But I will qualify that for me. I certainly think that he can. And I think he'd have to do it in the next couple of years. But, you know, the standard of play, you only need a couple of bad sessions. And Ronnie will have a couple of bad sessions. He seems to. I don't know if he's got the longevity in him to actually play the full 17 days and keep winning to lift that 8th world title.
Well, meanwhile, that could have gone wrong, couldn't it? But he dealt with it as if it wasn't a problem, and he's still going. Yeah, I mean, you know, he's won 7. The only reason 8 is significant is because it's one more than the record he shares with Stephen Hendry. If he ends with 7, that's still an incredible record. Guess we'll find out over the next few years.
$52. 53.
Another consideration you had to throw into the melting pot, I suppose, was would he find a cue that he was able to play as well with? Because, of course, he broke it back in January, his previous cue. He'd had that since 2012, but I think we've all seen enough from him today to suggest that his cue problems are over, at least.
$68.
Well, in the blink of an eye, this frame is gone. This is frame ball.
69.
So he stepped it up. Last couple of frames. Just checking the scoreboard. He's already to the point where Hawkins requires a couple of snookers. He's been threatening to make a century all night. Let's see if this is the frame where it happens.
75. 76.
Well, the man who beat him at the Crucible in the semi-finals is nearly there. He's 35 in front, Zhao Xingtong, as he misses that. So he's not there yet.
83.
He's not there yet. There's still 51 on.
It's 9.
And he still hasn't made a century, but it's another frame-winning break of 89, nonetheless, for Ronnie O'Sullivan, who from 3-2 down has now won 3 frames on the spin and is 1 away from the quarter-finals here in Shanghai, leading Barry Hawkins 5-3. So Barry Hawkins, it doesn't seem that long since he was 3-2 up, but he's 5-3 down, needing to win the last 3 to remain in this Shanghai Masters. O'Sullivan made 90 and then 89 in the last 2 frames.
Has he been lucky there? Does the red next to the black pot into the left corner? When Ronnie missed that red into the left corner when close to the century break in the previous frame, he seemed rather surprised at how tight the pocket played. Oh, he had left that red on and Barry's knocked it in. But he's at the point of no return now, Barry Hawkins. He can ill afford any rudimentary errors. It could easily be his last in this year's event.
Yeah, in the last 3 frames before this one, he'd only potted 2 balls, and you remember both times he snookered himself. So he's got to really focus. Shut out the noise on the other table. Crowd getting involved because Zhao Xingtong's back in, 5-2 up on Chris Wakelin, and now, well, he's just about over the line here. Snooker's required, so he seemed to play for the first match since winning the World Championship, first match in 3 months. He played pretty well overall. He did offer a few chances, but you know, it's classic sort of first match back stuff. He's still going to be here. Hawkins, in the end, this has worked out well because this red comes, just flicks that red, and he is on one. But yeah, Zhao Xingtong is going to take on Ding Junhui. What a special match that'll be. The man who started the Chinese boom against the man who has grabbed hold of it with both hands to climb to the top of the snooker world. A Chinese success story here in Shanghai tomorrow night.
26.
Popular win, clearly, for Zhao Xingtong. The world champion gets his season off to winning ways. Applause from Chris Wakelin. From 2-2, Zhao Xingtong has won 4 on the spin, and they're just recognising his supporters. And what a night it's going to be tomorrow when he takes on Ding. Well, understandably, there's a lot of noise, but Hawkins just having to concentrate, focus on what he's doing. This is a big visit for him as he tries to get back into this match.
29.
There'll be so many players now, I beg your pardon, spectators now, making their way across to be able to see what remains of this match if they can. So this will be a testing time for Barry during the course of this break. He will be put off, I'm sure. He's going to have to play through this.
36.
Referee just asking for a bit of hush. I must say though, it's great to see such enthusiasm for snooker, and I think Zhao Xintong's emergence just given that extra spark, hasn't it? That extra lift to the sport in this part of the world.
45.
Break goes to 50. I'm just wondering if the pink is available into the left corner. If it is, that would really suit Barry Hawkins. Oh, there's your answer. So if Barry can just pop 2 or 3 more reds with high value colours, we'll be able to reduce the deficit to a single frame.
57.
Pink, red and high value colour to leave Ronnie O'Sullivan at the snooker's required stage. And I think it's because of that he won't worry about playing a delicate cannon into the 2 reds. It's too risky.
64.
Well, this is excellent from Hawkins. Refusing to be beaten down by the O'Sullivan burst in the last couple of frames.
72.
It's worth remembering how well he played in that World Final against O'Sullivan in 2013. He lost 18-12, but O'Sullivan had to up his game. He made 6 centuries actually in the final.
73. Ed. 81.
Well, this should just make him feel good. I mean, that's a brilliant shot on the black and just goes into the next frame feeling confident. Misses that, but an 88 from Barry Hawkins made in no time at all. He's still in this. This is a terrific contest now, and it's got a bit closer. 5-4. O'Sullivan needs 1. Hawkins needs them both. So Barry Hawkins with that 88, swift break it was as well, back in it. 5-4 to Ronnie O'Sullivan. First to 6 will become the last player into the quarterfinals of this Shanghai Masters. We know, of course, the lineup tomorrow in the first session: Judd Trump against Mark Selby and Zhang Guodong against Ali Carter. At night we've got Ding Junhui against Zhao Xintong, and Karen Wilson will play the winner of this match.
Chance for Barry to play off the pack of reds here, get the cue ball between the yellow and the brown. Just needs to be careful that he doesn't leave the red that's closest to the right corner on. You can see it there just in front of the blue. That would be a possible red, so just need to be a little bit careful here. Oh, needs his cue ball to run. Oh, this could be the worst thing ever for Barry if that cue ball slows down, because he's developed the black now.
Well, there's a bit of a wince, wasn't there, as he turned away there, Barry Hawkins. Yeah, and he was right too. He could have played his last shot.
Well, I have to say, I think Ronnie looks as settled with this cue as with any cue I've ever seen him with, so that's a positive sign for Ronnie O'Sullivan fans, and for Ronnie himself, of course. Now, will he go into the pack of reds here with the angle that he has?
Six.
Once he decided to, I thought he would have stunned into them. By playing it delicately like that, he just allowed the cue ball to run through the reds, and he's finished nowhere. This is very tough if he's taking this on. No. Decelerated.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 6.
Yeah, just refused to back away, but how costly will it be? Well, we've just seen Hawkins win the last frame, having needed just one chance with that 88 break.
What?
Not the best kiss by any means. This brown's thin. He can play for a loose red, possibly the one just to the left of the black spot. Oh, he's played that very nicely, has he?
5.
Or has he run too far? Oh, it's just okay.
Six. Thirteen. Fourteen.
Could play a delicate cannon here into the middle red of the three that are just above the black. Decided not to. Now, the reason I suggested he could have played a cannon into the middle red of those three was guaranteed to give himself the chance to play for the black again.
21.
Well, he can't do from this red. He'll have to go up for blue or pink now.
Two.
Doesn't seem to like the angle on the pink, which may be tied up actually when it's respotted.
$28. $29.
Decision time now for Barry
56.
Hawkins. What sort of an angle does he want to leave on the black, and will he go into the reds or play a cannon on one of the loose reds to hold for another?
37.
Oh, at that particular angle, I think he's going to go into the reds here. The red just above the black would be a good one to cannon into. Oh, he did play another cannon onto a loose red, and he's judged it well. Had to really dig deeply into the cue ball there to get the amount of backspin required, and he's just about played it to perfection.
$45. 52. $53.
Well, this is exactly the sort of snooker you need to produce when your back is firmly against the wall, as it was for Barry Hawkins. He was 5-3 behind, couldn't afford any mistakes, and he's found his A game here, albeit with a little bit of help from Ronnie O'Sullivan when he missed that red to the right centre. Gifted Barry Hawkins this opportunity.
$60.
So the key shot really to land on this next red, which is all he'll need to take us to a decider. This middle pocket is, of course, where O'Sullivan missed that tricky red. If Hawkins finds his target, we're going down to one last frame. What a terrific break this has been. So poised. Just focusing entirely on the table, not the situation. Great match, isn't it? And still in the balance.
$72. $73.
One of those three victories over O'Sullivan that he's had did come up the crucible in a decider, 2016, 13-12 in round 2. O'Sullivan has won the other 4 deciders they played.
Ed. $81.
But from what we've seen, it could well come down to who gets the first chance, because we've seen so many breaks in this match. Deciders can be different, though, clearly, with everything on the line.
$88.
Well, it's Barry Hawkins that will take all the momentum into this deciding frame. As Dave is alluding to, it doesn't really necessarily mean too much. It's a completely different mindset in a deciding frames, a different pressure. It's just a one-frame shootout, and
96.
you just want a chance in a deciding frame. That's all you're ever hoping for, because if you don't make the most of it, you can only blame yourself.
Well, the red just drops. They've been threatening, both of them, to make a century. Surely Hawkins, he's going to pop this black to make one here. Well, yeah, he must go into the decider feeling really good. 2 excellent frames from Barry Hawkins.
104.
That's the 34th century of the tournament. The record in this event is 37. That's going to go, clearly.
106.
The break ends at 106. It follows the 88. Two excellent contributions from Barry Hawkins. O'Sullivan did have the early chance in that frame, missed that red. Hawkins did the rest. And so this terrific match is coming down to a decider. It's 5-all.
Barry Hawkins to break.
Well, a really entertaining match here in Shanghai this evening between Ronnie O'Sullivan and Barry Hawkins has come down to a deciding frame finish. 5-all. It was 5-3 to O'Sullivan. He was 3-2 down, led 5-3. Hawkins came back very strongly, just made a century in the 10th frame. O'Sullivan getting support. The winner reaches the quarterfinals. The truth is they're both playing well enough to go a lot further. Karen Wilson, of course, will be a tough opponent in the next round, but only one can progress to play him.
That's a good safety shot from Barry Hawkins. He's used the green to block off this right-hand side of the table. I don't think Ronnie could risk a return to baulk from here. Just leaving the cue ball along this top cushion, but where's this red going to finish? Oh, it's just run far enough. It's little things like that that could cost you the match very easily. Just a little bit thick on the contact on the red. That's why the cue ball cannoned into the blue instead of running past it to baulk. But I have to say, although there are a couple of potable reds on for Barry Hawkins, they're far from easy, and I can't see any positional certainties either from them. Is it worth the risk to take one of these on? I'm not so sure. I think the pressure is beginning to tell. That's 3 consecutive shots from both players that have been struck on the thick side. Is Barry looking at a potential 4-ball plant here? Even if it's on, even if Barry thought he could make this, there's no way you could expect to be on a colour from it.
Well, 2 reds went in, but as Dom says, there's no guarantee of position. The cue ball clung on. Put it this way, if anyone had nodded off, that would have woken him up, that shot.
Well, audience still amazed by what they just saw there, but Barry's got a bit of a problem now with that red closest to the cue ball. It's very possible he's got to hide it. Oh, he's played that really, really well. Acknowledgement there from O'Sullivan. I think Ronnie will have to take this red on, but the problem is, does the cue ball come off the top cushion and cannon into another ball? Just looking at what other shot that he can play here, and I just can't really see anything that he could play. He may not be on a colour if he knocks the red in, but at least it gives him the opportunity to play a good safety.
I guess if he feels there's no other choice, he'll at least commit totally to the shot. He's having a good look. Such a key moment, this, obviously, in the decider, in a heavy scoring match. He knows if he offers just one chance, that could be it.
Well, he's calling Barry's bluff here. That shot was always on, but it was never going to be entirely safe. The red next to the pink was always going to be pottable. Oh, can Ronnie see the same red this time? If he can do a lot more with the cue ball from here. He's not against the cushion. Oh, it didn't go in. Oh, look at that for a mistake. That could be very costly.
Well, fascinating. Hawkins didn't take any risks, didn't really get a good cue ball. It's kind of forced O'Sullivan into taking the red on. He's missed it. Got rather tense, hasn't it? Understandably.
And the good thing from Ronnie's point of view, perhaps, is that the black is tied up and the pink is near bulk, although that could easily be potted very shortly. But where would the pink go? Is it spot available? Does it have to go on the blue spot? So the reds are in really good positions. The colour's not quite so just yet.
Even so, you'd rather be Barry Hawkins right now. At least he has the chance to build up some sort of lead in this deciding frame. The whole feel of it is different though, isn't it? Now we've come down to 5 each. You can just feel it in the room. Remember, he's only beaten O'Sullivan 3 times in 21 meetings, albeit he did win the last one at the UK Championship last season.
Six. Seven.
Bit of adrenaline there. Perhaps Barry overhit that by a good few inches. He's pretty much dead straight on this blue. So, a good positional shot required.
12.
Yeah, there's just something different about a decider. It was certainly a chance to build up a good lead in the frame, but in the end he didn't get very far.
That was a far better pot than it looked, and I think Ronnie deserved a better fate. May not be on the yellow. The blue is cuttable. I think the yellow does pop past the brown, but can he get on a red? Oh, bounced it in. Clearly, I think the discerning factor here will be as to who copes with the pressure the most.
Four.
Be very handy now for Ronnie if he can manage it to get the pink back onto its spot. In fact, he's going to play the pink now. He could leave himself high on the red just to dolly it into the centre pocket and play for the pink.
Ten.
Well, there's a section of the crowd applauding every pot, whether it's sort of straightforward or not.
Sixteen. Seventeen.
Under these circumstances, that pink was very missable. There are a good couple of reds just above the black that will pot into either corner pocket. And Barry Hawkins will be well aware of it as he wonders whether he'll get back to the table now.
Set.
It's looking a lot less likely after that shot. He had his chance. That's what will disappoint Hawkins if he does lose now.
Six. Six, seven.
Well, that could have been played a little better. Was able to leave a gap for the black and the reds. For this red closest to the corner pocket.
44.
30 points the lead. Just a few more pots required.
45.
Well, there's still time for a twist. It's going to have to come in the next couple of shots, though.
52.
He could not have won as much without having an incredible will to win. It's just making sure of the maths. Not too much more to do. That red, in fact, puts him 45 in front with 43 on. So Barry Hawkins, as I say, played 2 great frames to make it 5-all. He had the early chance, but he broke down. And O'Sullivan has stepped in. His first match of his 34th season as a professional has been a successful one. Here in Shanghai, where he's won this title 5 times as a ranking event or an invitation event. .53 in front with 35 on. There's no way back. So Ronnie O'Sullivan off to a winning start here at the Shanghai Masters. It was in the balance. A high-quality match full of breaks came down to a rather nervy decider. But when the chance came, O'Sullivan made the winning break, and he will take on the 2024 world champion, Karen Wilson, in the quarterfinals. He's finally seen off Barry Hawkins by 6 frames to 5.